Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new round here. Remember, guys, when we hit 5k subscribers, there'll be a giveaway for a Chelsea training top from the new range for the upcoming season. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. The quicker we get to 5k, the quicker you've got your chances of getting your hands on one of those tops. And let's dive into today's video, people. And Chelsea have seemingly upped their pursuit for Leeds United midfielder Tyler Adams. The United States international has a £20 million release clause in his contract due to Leeds' relegation last season. And he's been an option that's been reported on over the last couple of weeks that he's on a list of alternatives for Moises Caicedo. But again, Fabrizio Romano reporting last night, guys, that Chelsea have now made contact with Tyler Adams' camp to be informed on the conditions of any potential deal and exploring costs. I'm not really sure why we're exploring costs when there's a £20 million relegation release clause in his contract. But yep, such is life at Chelsea at the moment with negotiations. We need to explore the costs, even though we've got a release clause. But yeah, anyway, I'm also pointing out that focus remains on Moises Caicedo talk, separate deal and separate story. So this obviously is potentially in addition to Moises Caicedo as well. And do you know what? Tyler Adams is not a bad player, in my opinion. We saw him do very, very well at the World Cup. The US captain's obviously got good leadership capability as well. And he impressed in a very poor Leeds side last season. That, of course, ultimately did go down. I mean, if we look at kind of, I guess, the pros and cons of Tyler Adams from my point of view, I think the positives is obviously due to the relegation release clause. Available for £20 million, which in this market for someone at 24 years of age is exceptional value. He's a defensive midfield player as well, so at his position we need to strengthen him. Strong in tackling, his interceptions and disrupting all attacks. He's brilliant for squad depth in that position as well. And he's experienced, because he's had several seasons at Leipzig and he's had a season in the Premier League with, obviously, with Leeds. And he's also, an experienced US international as well. And at 24 years of age, guys, he's also a player that can be part of the project long term. Those are obviously the positives, in my opinion. However, when we're looking at a player, we've got to weigh up both sides of the argument. And there are some negatives. He's got a history of injury problems, which, fits him perfectly at Chelsea. I'm sure we can make a nice little space for him at the Cobham Medical Centre for him to go and join everyone else that gets injured at the club. But yeah, 22 games missed in the last 3 seasons. And his latest injury, which is supposedly going to rule him out till around September, he's missed 13 games for Leeds. And obviously there's a risk that it could continue. Due back from injury in September, as I said, but could take a while to get up to speed and being fully available. So I don't think he's really played any pre-season minutes or anything like that. So if he does come in, it means that he's going to take a little bit of time to get up and running, which is never ideal. Although he's not coming in to be a starter. So, maybe that isn't a complete disaster. And with a new long-term model, we could struggle to offload him potentially if the injuries continue and he's on a long-term contract. We see Chelsea offering 5, 6, 7-year contracts, or death row contracts, as I like to call them. And there's also people asking questions about whether or not he's the right level for Chelsea. I've not watched an awful lot of him, but I don't think as a squad option we could be saying that he's not good enough for Chelsea. I think he's demonstrated that he is a very capable footballer. And the data shows that the numbers stack up, and he's very good at certain things. If we bring up the data and we show him compared to Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, you can see 97.8% of his duels have been won, which is massive. 96.5% of his defensive actions, which is fantastic. So those two things in a defensive midfield player are really important. He's got good forward passing at 90.3. And of course, progressive passes as well is quite high there as well. And of course, he's done that in 2,914 minutes, which is by far the least amount of minutes compared to Enzo's 5,500 and Moises Caicedo almost at 4,300. And I think if we could get both of them in, the three of them complement each other really nicely. So Adams is, again, as I mentioned, very good in winning his duels and very good in defensive actions as well. Obviously, the progressive carries aren't great, but we're not really looking for that too much from a defensive-minded midfield player. Yes, the forward pass percentage could be a lot better as well. But again, with better options ahead of him, maybe he tries more of those passes in a struggling side like Leeds. Maybe those forward passes aren't available as often. But certainly the data stacks up in his favour, people. So look, I think there's a lot of positives to this. There are obviously some negatives as well. It's not necessarily the big name that we're looking for, but again, I think Chelsea have shown in this window that we're looking to be smart with the business, smart, clever, not spending ridiculous amounts of money. And I think at £20 million, it's almost a no-brainer in my opinion. As I said, it's good value, excellent defensively, and not as useless at passing as some people might not say. Some people may say even. And if you're looking at 4 options for the pivot, and you've got Enzo, Caicedo, Andre Santos, and Tyler Adams, then you're looking really, really good. And I think if Tyler Adams comes in, maybe that means that Conor Gallagher, again, is more likely to move on if someone can actually pay up the 50 million quid we're looking for. And maybe as well, you could potentially look at giving Chukwuemeka some consideration in the pivot, perhaps as a more attacking option. I'm not saying that suits him necessarily, but certainly something to be considered. So when you're looking at it in that way, maybe you could argue that, well, do we really need to bring Tyler Adams in when, the futures of Andre Santos and Chukwuemeka are more important? But I think he's a profile we lack. He's a good price, and he's got impressive intangibles and leadership qualities. So I think there's a lot of positives here. The injury concerns are an issue. Of course they are. But when I suppose when you're weighing this deal up, I think the positives of the deal, in my opinion, far outweigh the negatives. And I'm interested to see kind of how Chelsea move in the coming days and weeks. Before the window closes. Obviously, I don't expect anything to happen before the season starts or anything like that. But yeah, I personally feel it's a half decent move. I don't necessarily think it's as bad as some people make out. He's really not as bad as people make him out to be. Yes, of course, he only made 26 appearances last season, but he's a good player. He is a good player. So yeah, I don't know. You look at it, and yeah, I think he's good. I think we should maybe look at doing this. But I mean, it's not exciting. Of course, it's not. But it's look. I think it's one that adds necessary squad depth, and one that is at £20 million is probably definitely worth doing. He fits the age profile, as I said. So yeah, look, I'm on board with this one. I mean, people, make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments below as well, guys. Whether you think a move for Tyler Adams is good, what your thoughts are on the player, where you see him fitting in. But I certainly feel that these are a very decent options to have. In terms of squad depth, this is obviously we're not going to have a lot of rotation because we're only playing once a week and we're playing domestic cups. But injuries, different levels of opposition, different games, etc., might require a slightly different profile. And you need quality and depth and experience and all that sort of thing. And at 24, he'll probably be one of the older members of the squad, which is a mad thing to say. But I think there's definitely space for him in the side. And I think this would be a very good move if Chelsea decide to go and pursue it. Because it is a profile, as I said, that we are lacking, people. But yeah, I'm excited by it. In terms of other midfield options, I don't really see any other midfielders coming in other than maybe Tyler Adams or Moises Caicedo. There's no real update on Moises Caicedo. We're still talking, we're still negotiating. So it is what it is on that one. We just got to be patient, strap in for the ride. We've been strapped in for a while on this ride with Moises Caicedo. But let's hope, before the season starts, we get a bit more information, or certainly between Liverpool and West Ham. That would be ideal. But again, I'm not holding my breath on that one. I still think it will happen, but as to when it happens is anyone's guess. Every week that goes by, I'm thinking, yeah, this is it. This is going to be when it happens, but it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I'm still confident it happens, but I can't give you any idea when I think it might be, because I've got absolutely no idea myself. But it seems that Tyler Adams, despite Paredes being on the list, despite Onana being on the list at Everton, despite Edson Alvarez, it looks like he's going to West Ham now. If we do get two, it'll be Tyler Adams and Moises Caicedo, or if we just get the one, I think it'll be Moises Caicedo. But yeah, Chelsea made contact with his agents. Let's wait and see if anything further comes from it. But I would certainly take Caicedo and Tyler Adams as Chelsea's 2 midfield signings this window. It definitely gives us a lot of options there is in the midfield. It gives us strength, it gives us quality and depth as well. So yeah, I think overall the positives outweigh the negatives with Tyler Ennis. But as I said earlier, guys, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below on this move. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Remember, at 5,000 subscribers, people, there'll be a Chelsea training top giveaway from the new range for the upcoming season. You don't want to miss out on that. So the quicker we get there, the quicker you've got your chances of winning one of those. But yeah, people, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you again in another video soon. Up the Chelsea and peace out.